Let's move on now. The state with the highest amount of net debt in the nation is handing down a budget which economists fear will be tough and the government is calling difficult. If those trends continue, Victoria's debt burden could top more than $200 billion over the forward estimates, prompting calls for austerity but also tax reform.
Not since the state bank crisis of the late 1980s and early 1990s has Victoria faced such a tough economic outlook.
So I think we're in for a pretty tough budget.
State Treasurer Tim Pallas is handing down his 9th budget. The Victorian government has already been sounding an alarm on spending.
This is a very difficult budget.
And that does involve some difficult choices.
Victoria's net debt, the amount a state must pay back in borrowings, is the highest in the nation. Last May, it was forecast to climb from $102 billion to $167.5 billion by 2026. The latest financial report places net debt at $104.1 billion. The Shadow Treasurer is concerned the trajectory means borrowings could become double that figure.
And that means that each and every day, $10 million is spent just to service our state's debt.
Victoria's ability and capacity to borrow money to pay for services is less secure. In 2020, several ratings agencies downgraded it from a AAA credit rating.
5 years before the COVID pandemic hit, we did raise issues that this was growing much more rapidly than other states.
There may only be one option.
We don't think the government can spend what they had in their budget last year on infrastructure. If they do deliver their budget from last year on infrastructure spending, that would push them very close to that 240% number, which could result in a downgrade.
That downgrade would be to AA-, the worst in the nation, but higher than comparable global economies. But the question is, how can Victoria's spending be reined in? The government is not denying reports public sector spending may be slashed by around 10%.
I won't get involved in a discussion about what, if and how many we're looking at.
New infrastructure spending may be placed on hold.
But we would hope some good things will come out of that, which will improve the efficiency of infrastructure in Victoria. But a tough position for state governments generally around the country, apart from in WA.
The alternative approach may be to cut spending on those projects and departments, and the alternative government expects it's the only option.
Do you see yourself reining in public service spending and the size of government?
Well, I may or may not have to.
All will be revealed when Victoria's budget is handed down on Tuesday. Simon Love, Sky News, Melbourne.